Okay, coach, this is it. So I'm so excited. This is what you've been waiting for. It's the process to create the win. Okay. So if you've been working through the modules and the lessons since the beginning, this is where it's going to pull it all together. And most of those tools are just going to come together into this one powerful routine for you. And hopefully you're practicing it so you can teach it to your athletes to achieve any goal. It's just this 12-step process to consistency and dropping anxiety and perfecting those skills and drills that you've been wanting, right? This is how it works. So let's say you have an athlete that is struggling mentally with a certain move, right? And that happens often. You know this athlete is capable, but the athlete is showing hesitations or self-doubt. This is a step-by-step process that I would do and want to challenge you to do with them, okay? Number one, step one, have your athlete, or this could be for you too. I really highly suggest doing it for yourself too, but let's just go with an athlete right now. Have your athlete pick one goal that they want to achieve and put that in the R line of the CTFAR model. Okay. Step two, massive action. So now you're going to ask your athlete, list 10 things that you think you would have to do in order to get that R, that result. Okay, so then they list 10. Step three, their brain's going to say, I don't know. They're going to get to the point where like, I don't know anymore. You respond, pretend you knew exactly what to do. What would you do? You have more in you than you think. So if you did know, what would you put? What else would you do? Okay, that's step three, because they're going to get to a point where they're like, I don't have anything else left. And you say, pretend that you do know. Step four, have your athletes write 10 actions. This is the A line. Okay, so we're just bringing these down to little steps. Step five, once the actions are written, ask, I'm going to count backwards from 3 to 1, and I want you to pick one thing that you think will get you that result the fastest, and then start counting 3, 2, 1, and they just look at their list and they pick one. Okay, honestly, it doesn't usually matter which one. They just, whatever their mind goes to, they pick it, and just give them 3 seconds. Step six, once they pick the action, the one action, then it's time to break it down to even smaller, tiny little pieces. Okay, so you tell the athlete this one action, and you're going to have them break that action down to 5 more littler actions. So you may have to remind them, because their brain's going to say, I don't know. You're going to say, if you did know, what would you put down there? So you just have to encourage them. Step 7, repeat step 5. Okay, so what you're doing is you're just trying to break everything down, and you're going to count backwards, 3, 2, 1, and they pick one. Okay, so now you've broken it down into tiny little pieces, and they pick one. The one thing that they think is going to get them over to their results the quickest. Okay, step 8 is you try to ask 7. I don't like you using the word try. You ask 7 questions about this new, very small, seemingly insignificant action. And the reason for 7 is that there's this psychology about 7, that when you say yes 7 times, there's something cognitively that changes to belief and possibility. So your natural brain is searching for negativity, right? But saying out loud 7 to yourself opens up your higher brain to your possibility. So ask your athlete a variety of questions like, so you believe if you do this one thing, it's possible that it will get you closer to your goal, right? And hopefully they'll say yes. If not, then you need to go pick a different one. Okay, and then another one would be, do you believe you are capable of doing this one small action? If they say no, then pick a new action or break it down even smaller, okay? So you can either pick a different one or break it down even smaller until they can say yes, that they 100% believe. And you'll say, is this little action easy? And hopefully they say yes at this point. If they believe they can do it, it's probably small enough that it's not that big of a deal yet, okay? And then another one would be, this is a fourth one that I usually try to say is, do you really believe it's possible that you are capable of doing this small action, right? And then another one is, are you capable of doing the small action every time you, whatever the blank is, show up to bat, show up on the court, every time you're prepping to make the 3-pointer, right? And then do you think it's possible that you can do that small action 100% of the time? Right? And then the last question I like to ask is, so every time you do whatever your goal is, then you can do the small action, is what you're telling me. So I just kind of revise that same question. So they're telling themselves, yes, I believe I can do it, over and over and over. Okay. Step 9. All right, let's put this action into an affirmation. So we will start with an affirmation, and then we can move it, we can refine it a little bit. But the one that I like to start with is, I am capable of blank, doing that small action every time I do blank. Every time you do the goal, every time that person's working towards the goal, okay? And you just check in with them, is this true? You can do that little thing every time you start going for this goal, right? And eventually you'll want to switch this affirmation to, I do blank, the small action, every time I do this goal. Every time I work towards this goal, I just do this. This is just what I do. It's gone to my default. So step 10, the affirmation routine set. Write the affirmation on a Post-it, stick it on your mirror, read it in the morning and at the evening, 10 times each time, looking at your eyes in the mirror, right? Moving your body in the motion from just a standstill, just kind of move your body in the motion of doing that small action. So you're using as many senses as possible. So you say it, you hear it, you feel it, you believe it. Step 11, ask your athlete to pick one word out of the affirmation. Once they are looking at that affirmation that they wrote, tell them you're going to count down 3, 2, 1, and you want them to pick one word in the affirmation that reminds them of that whole affirmation. 3, 2, 1, pick. Okay. Step 12, write that cue word down. Explain that when they are on the field or the court or the gym or the pool or wherever they are, wherever they're doing that goal, that big goal, the one word that they're going to focus on is that cue word. They won't be focused on anything else. And they're going to say that word out loud as they do the goal. So as a coach, you might be telling your athlete to be doing something. And based on this system, I want them to be only focused on the one word. That's it. Okay. And when they do that, they're going to find that things start happening and they start getting momentum and things are working. Okay. Kind of breaks them out of being stuck. So now you have a specialized, personalized, powerful, and completely reliable 12-step process for achieving every goal that your athlete wants. So you just put the affirmation or keyword in the T line. The feeling of usually like certainty is usually the feeling that we have because you already had the result. You already wrote that in the R line. Then you put that affirmation that we created in the T line. The A line is already filled up because you filled it up with 10 different things. And the feeling is usually certainty or focus in the F line. The small action in the A line and the result is what they are working on to come closer to every single day, which is evidence in their new thought of the affirmation. So this process is super simple. It's effective and it's priceless because I see the results it is creating in many, many athletes, scholarships and professionals, and the opportunities it's opening for these athletes. It's humbling and it's exciting and it's all wrapped up in one thrilling emotion, okay, for me. So this is my mind technique. It's very clear for me. And I always think of the mind. It's a quick affirmation or acronym. Okay, I hope you share it with your athletes. And it will help them create the wins that they want. So my mind, this is your mental core tip. That's a lot of mental core tips in this one. It's a quick acronym. It just means mind is the mind mastery. So when it's the mastery that we've been talking about, the CTFAR, right? So you master your mind, and then you internalize, which is all the emotions, and then you navigate what's happening with those emotions and the thoughts, and then you decide what you want to do from there. So you master your mind with the CTFAR. You internalize with the 5 fingers of control. Then you decide, once you've engaged your higher brain, then you decide from that space, which we call the sacred space, the space where you're about to make a decision, an intentional decision, okay? What your next thought's going to be to create your emotion and your action and your result. That is my mind technique. I just gave you the 12 steps to do it. And you can now teach the most comprehensive tool that's going to create the winning team every time for you. You now have that skill to master your mind, your emotions, and your life, okay? You have the 12-step process of achieving every goal in a very systematic and simplified process for you and your athletes. And you can help your athletes get those hundreds of thousands of dollars of scholarships to prestigious colleges. You can get your athletes to the pros. You can become the coach that everyone wonders what you're doing to produce so many top performers. This system works, and it will continue to work if you master the foundational tools that creates the powerful system. So next step. This is a lot of information. I'm going to walk you through just a brief version of this with an athlete that I just was working with, just barely. She came to me with high anxiety. And after 2 sessions of our sessions together, she forgot that that was why she even came to me. She'd had anxiety for so long, and then after 2 sessions, she was so thrilled to be seeing these results in her competitions. I had to remind her why she was paying me in the first place. It was a moment of surprise. She had struggled with anxiety for so long and was able to say, wow, I haven't felt anxiety for a couple weeks now, right? So it's not like she was just really surprised. It wasn't like she used to feel it. I feel like I've been able to breathe again, is what she said. A lot of athletes say that. Breathing again seems to be a common response among many of my clients. And you're going to hear that too as you apply these tools. Okay, so we're going to see you in the next video and use an example.